to one of FHA's iconic projects, FHA Shopping Complex Gwarimpa, still under construction. This is FHA Weekly, and I am Itunu Kolawole. Let's take you around some of FHA's latest activities on FHA Round the Clock.
The Federal Housing Authority has begun construction of the renewed Hope Affordable Housing Estate in Sabowa in Riganchikun, Kaduna State. The estate marks a concrete step towards closing Nigeria's housing gap and making decent, affordable homes a reality for Kaduna residents. Kaduna State Governor Senator Uba Sani performed the groundbreaking ceremony, officially launching President Bola Tinubu's renewed Hope Housing Initiative in the state. The governor reaffirmed his administration's commitment to affordable housing through projects like the Qatar Sanel project and the Family Homes Fund scheme.
Provision of affordable houses for Kaduna citizens is a key priority of our administration. We are committed to addressing the housing deficit in Kaduna State in line with our administration policy trust and President Bola Tinubu's Renew Hope initiative. We have adopted the holistic approach towards filling the identified gap. Our approach includes partnering with local and international investors, the social housing scheme, development lease agreement, public housing cooperation, and site and services. We recently commissioned phase 1 of the Qatar Sanel project and distribute houses to families of victims of banditry. The project is a collaborative initiative between the Kaduna State government and Qatar Charity for the provision of mass housing for the less privileged and underserved in our own state.
Managing Director of the Federal Housing Authority, Oyetunde Ojo, called the event the fulfillment of a promise made in May 2025. He commended Kaduna State for its outstanding cooperation, highlighting the governor's allocation of prime land in March 2024 and his push for swift execution.
Typical of Federal Housing Authority of Nigeria, we are not only going to build this estate, we are going to create a livable environment, which is our signature, a place Nigeria would be proud to call homes. What we are doing today goes beyond starting the construction of this estate, but starting the fulfillment of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, Grand Commander, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, promising of providing livable and affordable houses for Nigerians.
Authorities have pledged early high-quality completion so families can move in without delay. The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, has met face-to-face with the management of the Federal Housing Authority to seek clarification and get answers for their petition of corruption and mismanagement against the Housing Authority. NANS had petitioned the Federal Housing Authority alleging widespread corruption and threatening a protest against the agency. This meeting was an opportunity for the leadership of the Housing Authority to respond directly to the allegations. The Managing Director of FHA, Honorable Oyetunde Ojo, said the petition lacked merit. He also pointed out that the letter carried no formal address, contact or acknowledgement, making it invalid.
If you are a civil society or a Nigerian and you write us here, we would attend to you. But not somebody will go and sit down in a pepper soup joint. And no contact, nothing. I, Honorable Yetunde Ojo, will not respond to such letters.
The FHA boss insists the corruption allegations are being fueled by faceless civil society groups, some unregistered, and by individuals fighting against his ongoing reforms. He explained that since assuming office, the agency has digitized operations, ensured salaries are paid as at when due, and employed over 200 staff, including persons with disabilities.
This is a place where salary is being increased. This is a place where I employ disabled up to 10. Go to ministries and tell me an agencies where disabled are working physically challenged. The last employment I did was led by Benue, followed by Borno, Adamawa. I am from Ekiti. Before I came here for 20 years, no foreign training, no local training. Now people are going on foreign and local training. Furniture allowance is being paid once every year. Salary is paid on the 21st.
He maintained that the petitions were targeted attempts to discredit his leadership because he is blocking illegalities within the system.
After putting all these things in places, will people sit in their home? Are they not going to work for what they earn? This is an organization before where people will tell you that they can't come to work because their father is this, their mother is that. I've used digitalization to block the system and I have no regret for it.
On their part, NANS National Public Relations Officer, Comrade Adeyemi Samson, appreciated the FHA Managing Director for personally attending the meeting, describing it as a demonstration of transparency and sportsmanship.
This is a fact findings, and it's about to take us for us to see things that be here. And we can tell you that we are convinced, and we will also put the narrative right by rejoining that letter with what we have seen here. And also, probably we'll do our own personal press conference to commend his leadership for what he have done.
With both sides effectively reaching an understanding on the operations of the FHA and the successes recorded under the Oyetunde Ojo's leadership, NANS says it will keep watch over developments, while the FHA boss insists his reforms will continue despite resistance from vested interests. Honorable Ojo maintains that he is focused on cleaning up the Federal Housing Authority in line with the mandate from President Bola Tinubu to ensure that affordable housing is provided for middle and low-income earners.
Are you struggling to understand the processes of how to get a home with FHA? Or are you wondering how secure you are as a homeowner? I had a chat with the General Manager Legal Services, Aliyu Jafaru Kaura, who broke down legal terminologies and gave useful insights that every FHA homeowner should know about. Sit back and enjoy this interview.
FHA is a legal creation of the government. So can you run us through the enabling act that FHA runs through?
Yes. Federal Housing Authority was established pursuant to Decree number 40, 1973, now codified as Laws of the Federation, Cap F14, 2004. And it had specified most of the functions of the Federal Housing Authority, specifically in Section 3 and Section 4 of the Enabling Act there. Cap F14, Laws of the Federation 2004 as amended.
Okay, sir, there is an idea that this act has gone obsolete. There are people talking about how this is affecting the operations of FHA. So what are the things that are being put in place to?
Yes, definitely the act will be seen to say it is obsolete because any law that is over 50 years would have seen some required changes or areas that require some changes. Because in the Enabling Act, the totality of which were all Section 1 to 14. So you can see there are some new developments that ought to be captured and put in place in the Act. For example, the borrowing powers of the authority in the present Act is just 200,000 naira. So you can see a real estate industry which is not funded, and your restriction of borrowing is only limited to just 200,000. So how do you think such organization could survive?
So in terms of this amendment, what steps are you taking to amend this act?
Yes, so many efforts have been made by previous and successive management towards seeing the amendment of the bill. I could recall in 2018, a proposed bill was presented to the National Assembly. The same was also forwarded in 2021. The last proposed bill was forwarded in November 2021 to the ministry and, of course, to the National Assembly for the means to amend the present act. And by God's grace, in fact, as at that time, the bill had gone first reading at the National Assembly. But you know, current management or restructuring of the committees at the National Assembly affected the subsequent legislative processes. So, but management, this present management, when it came, it revived the effort again to see that the amendment is done perfectly well by the National Assembly so as to effectively assist the authority in seeing to the achievement of its mandate.
FHA was established. In fact, it is the solely government agency that is supposed to advise and also build houses for Nigerians. But if we are to look at it now, this same function has been taken over by some other agencies. So what are you doing? What is the Legal Services Department doing to take back this function now?
When this administration came, or President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, part of its development agenda in the housing sector, it provided the Renewed Hope Housing Initiative, of which the Federal Housing Authority is the sole part of the key agencies executing the Renewed Hope Housing Initiative.
But if I have to cut you short here, is there something that FHA is doing? Is FHA working towards this? Because if other agencies are taking on the role of building and designing the same renewed hope housing, what then is left for FHA to do?
The agency's functions and all responsibilities were not taken over. But however, there could be some overlappings. For example, the idea of mortgages is solely meant to be that of the Federal Mortgage Bank, providing funds for Nigerians to acquire houses. If there were exclusive provisions to say the Federal Housing Authority is solely conferred with the responsibility of regulating the real estate sector, currently there is no one single entity providing regulation to the real estate industry. And that is why in the proposed bill, provisions have been made there which awaits the National Assembly to complete the process of amendment of the bill, so that if it is found fit, like the telecom sector is being regulated by the NCC, and such other agencies, Food Drugs Administration is being regulated by the NAFDAC. Such other things. So who regulates the housing sector? I know it is in the concurrent list, the states, the federal government shares responsibility in legislating over housing. But there should have been the same manner that telecoms was exclusively meant for NCC to regulate. So there should also be a regulator to the real estate industry, and the Federal Housing Authority, with the vast resources, vast professionals, and spread across the country, ought to be given such mandate to regulate the real estate sector.
Now, you've mentioned that FHA, of course, it is in the real estate business. So it is an agency that is involved in real estate business. And if we were also to speak on that, it is very possible that FHA gets involved in litigation. So how do you handle these litigations?
There is no estate or land providing agency that is bereft of any litigation against such agency. So FHA is not immune from that. But however, we have the least cases if compared with certain other agencies of government. As at October, November last year, number of cases against the authority are about 231 cases. Out of these 231 cases, we have resolved through ADR and other alternative dispute resolution mechanisms these cases to the barest minimum. At instances, the present management would invite prospective litigants against the authority. We sat down with them, fashioned out means of settling their claims, if any. And through that ADR process, the authority was able to reduce the number of cases against it. We also boast our chests that there has never been substantive garnishee orders, absolute, made against the authority. In the course of handling our litigation, the Act provides we can engage external solicitors to handle the cases, and it's the policy of government. Most of the government agencies engage external solicitors who handles the brief of the authority. And we forward those engagements to the Office of the Attorney General for his approval to engage such with their proposed fees. So you can see we are living in a very progressive manner of handling our litigation cases. And internally here, the authority had a cream of qualified lawyers headed by my own self, and who had been advising the authority and handling other documentary aspect of the legal processes to the management. Legal advice, both for the guidance of the management and its relationship with third parties, is handled by the legal department. Drafting of contractual documents and such other things were all carried out by the legal department.
We know that this new management is working towards digitalization. In fact, digitalization is the way to go. It's a revolution. So how is it that digitalization is helping with legal dispute resolution?
Though the contract was provided by the last management to digitalize the activities of the authority, but the contract was not encouraging. So the present management now utilized the wisdom to deploy extra means to see that the digitalization process was achieved. And by God's grace, on the second day of May 2025, the digitalization process effectively took place. With that, the incidence of stealing or pilfering of files, property files, had gone. Customers interacting with the authority had a smooth sail with the services of the authority. Such reports were given instantly when paid upon confirmation of ownership and such other regulatory processes. So the cases of double allocation were all almost about to be trashed out with the enforcement of the digitalization process.
Barrister, can you also talk to us about consent? How do people gets to dwell. You people have to change their names. They get allocation from FHA, and then they go ahead and sell to someone else.
Yes, it's a very important question you asked. For all the years, I think the authority had challenges of maybe Nigerians were not properly informed or are unaware that in dealing with the authority's property, when you are opportune to have any allocation of the authority and you want to, let's say, sell out, you are not selling out the property, you are assigning the interest given in that property. So one of the rules of transferring property is that you have to, whatever agreements you may have entered with your buyer or suppose assignee, you are to prepare deed of assignment, forward the deed of assignment, show your evidence of payment of ground rents outstanding, if any, attach application for consent to assign, address the application to the managing director, chief executive, attach the deed of assignment, the application for consent to assign, evidence of payment of all the outstanding ground rents, if any, and other land charges, forward to the managing director, and a bill will now also be forwarded for the consent after evaluation. When such bill is granted to you, and upon payment of such, then the authority's consent is now being granted to you to transfer the said property from yourself to the now new owner called assignee. We're not saying that there are no land grabbing cases in Abuja or any other cities. So in order for you to avoid falling into the praise of land grabbers, come to the authority. There is a customer service unit or the Servicom unit, the estate units, in fact, even the legal department. We can give you advice on how to acquire the authority's property. When you do that, the last process is to acquire the consent of the authority. And when you do that, you have the valid transfer of such title to yourself. And through that, it also passes to your next of kins. Unless that is done, in the records of the authority, the first allottee's name still vests with that ownership.
Thank you so much for joining us today, sir.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Nigerians.
Planning to develop on your land within an FHA estate? Here's everything you need to know about why you need a building approval and common mistakes to avoid. Building approval is not just the paperwork. It is your first step to ensure your structure meets planning, safety, and environmental standards. Here are the common mistakes that can delay or deny your building approval. Your building deserves a strong foundation. For more inquiries, contact our customer support or visit www.fha.gov.ng. FHA, uniting Nigerians through housing.